Everybody, Chris and Lumen, just doing a quick update tonight. Let you know what's going on, what the plans are, and things like that. I've been pretty. It's kind of hard for me sometimes. It's like my energy has to go into one thing or the other. So if she's got me doing a lot of making stuff for people, it's kind of hard to have my mind open to receiving any kind of new knowledge or messages or lessons or anything like that. But I have got some interesting insights. I'll tell you what I'm watching for, and I'll tell you what I'm working on. So if you want to know more, don't go away. Okay, been juggling a lot this week. So one thing that I've noticed is, I've kind of been in this spot. I stuck isn't the right word, but when I ask the right questions, it's kind of like everything that I've done, everything we talked about on here, as far as like this life game goes, like I've kind of like figured out as much as you can figure out. And now I'm just kind of like waiting for things to finish up for the most part. And thus, though I am getting some things to share, lessons and things like that, should put a lot more focus on building things for people and trying to make more things that are like at different ranges the more people can afford if they want. So I feel like I've got enough feedback so far, like on the bracelets. Um, it's mostly positive. The only people that reported any kind of negative feeling, it was pretty quick to identify like what was actually happening. It was bringing stuff up to be cleared, and sometimes that'll happen. Other people, have described it as like just a warm, safe feeling. Other people have like said it's like powerful, like light. It's kind of crazy to me, being that it isn't. It's not something that has stones in it. That's just from the oil and the energy work and the things we put into the oil that's being applied to it. Like I just haven't tried that much before, and apparently it's pretty easy. Now, hopefully tomorrow-ish, hopefully tomorrow I'm supposed to get those wristbands in, and then I'm going to try that. That's going to be interesting. That'll make it real simple. And in order to do that, I actually came up with a second kind of like master oil that I'm using. So the one that I showed before, when it comes to the Benedict stuff, the bracelets, the metals, uh, anything like that, like that's the one I showed before. It's I don't want to go through it all again, but it's a combination of the God names. It's a combination of different oils that we upgraded and tuned up to Chrism level. The Benedict exorcism, the Benedict metal, the image of Christ. Like this is pretty. This is what I'm using on those bracelets that are being sent out. But then I felt that I wanted to do something similar, um, for you to use on like everything else. I mean, I could use both of them technically on the pendants, but just something to do a little extra with the pendants. I put Lumen's picture on this one, but this is a different formula. And this one is primarily focused on divine light and divine love. So on both of them, we've got Harok, which is the one down at the bottom. That's the big one, movement into the light. But up top, we've got Elad, which is, connecting to joy. Ha'a, which is connecting to divine unconditional love. Love, which is love in dreams and, appreciating the divine love that's within you, which would be lumen. Yella, which is connecting you to that divine flow of love. And then we've got two that are kind of like working both sides of the equation, Mia and Menach, which have to do with forgiveness, letting go, because that's like a huge thing to something actually being done. Whether you got to forgive yourself, you got to forgive someone else, whatever it is, like that's a major like part of the closing process. And then with that, I use the Holy Spirit oil, the Chrism Charged Quartz oil, and this, other different types of general oils that I created myself, along with a stone formulation. It's like rose quartz, kunzite, selenite, different things like that, that high vibe, angelic, divine love type energy. And that's like my general anointing oil now. And the key thing about that, and it's something that can also be used as like an alternative for like the Benedict stuff. Now, as far as being purpose driven goes, and I asked her this, and the original one, the one that's got all the clearing out negative stuff formula, that's primarily the best one for the Benedict stuff. But let's just say that you are not struggling with a lot of stuff. You're not battling your inner demons. You don't have a lot of traumas to let go of. You're not being besieged by stuff. You could use that other oil program, blessing, and it's just a lighter touch. But the thing is like, ultimately speaking, it just depends on which way you look at it. You could use either formula, because what is, the light and divine love are kind of inseparable. It's just describing like two different aspects of it, but ultimately it's the same energy. So yeah, that you can use that universally as well. Maybe I could even I might try using both. One for the actual functionality of clearing negative things, and the other one just to infuse it with more light. Either which way, I've got two freaking awesome, base program oils that I can use on all this stuff that I'm working on. I will get, now that I've got enough feedback, I will get some bracelets like up on the store. She's also got me building some new stuff tonight. I actually went out today. I haven't gotten any new raw material in a while. So we went out, and this is what I found. I got some bulk tumbled clear quartz. That's what the bowl is. If you're wondering why there's a bowl on the altar. So the quartz is in the bowl, and then the water is chrism water. So this is like, I don't have a whole ton of it left. This used to be full. That's still quite a bit. That's the chrism water. That's 2022 chrism water. Because the summer, the days, the sun just hasn't been conducive the last 2 years to time it to go out and get more. Plus I haven't really needed any more. But yeah, back when I made that, I had to do all that stuff, all the stuff that's in the star card, the ritual that Jesus used to bless the river before doing a Gnostic baptism. The bits and pieces of it are scattered throughout the Gospel of Philip and the Nag Hammadi. She taught me how to do it. So I had to go out and do that, and then I collect the water at the point in which the sun is reflecting off of it. And then I had to basically put it through 3 or 4 different types of filters, different kinds of water filters that I have, until it was basically absolutely perfectly pure water. And that is like my super nuclear powered freaking Gnostic holy water, chrism water. No different. It's literal purified river water from where the light's reflecting after the whole ritual and the whole business has been done on it. So that way I can use that to retune regular quartz into chrism quartz, which is just way higher vibe, way higher brightness, way more light in it. And then the other thing she's got me doing with that water is I got some more of these. So these are like those little mini vials, because I only had a couple of them left. There's one. And I'm going to make some more pendants with these in it. So I discovered, like, if you utilize these in pendants, it creates a much more interesting type of energy. So you're actually got the pendant that will have not only the charged combinations of crystals and stones and things like that, but it's got the actual like chrism baptismal super holy water inside the crystal itself, inside the pendant itself. And then I will pick some kind of really high vibe spiritual connection type stone and add some of that in there as well. And then I got to very carefully seal that so that the water actually stays in there. And then it becomes a component part of the pendants. Haven't made that stuff in a while. I got some more. This was the thing that jumped out at me today. They had it listed. I don't know if that's the right name or not. I haven't seen this in a while. They called it like fiber selenite. So regular selenite looks like this stuff. This one is more, it's more clear. It's not like that stringy rough stuff. So this is really, really, really high light frequency, spiritual type clearing stuff. Very, very clear stuff. That I found a couple pieces of seraphinite that I break up. So seraphinite is kind of like a master goddess divine feminine stone. So it doesn't take much to spread it in there and like amp up that divine feminine lumen Sophia type energy within it, especially for those connections. And then I found a couple of these celestial amethyst points, which I forget exactly what that means. I have to look it up. I know with the celestial quartz, it's kind of like, I know celestial quartzes are kind of considered, they're almost like radio tuners for divine spirit frequency. So I imagine it's a bit more like that. So yeah, she's got me making a whole bunch of stuff. I might add some options on the store for the different oils. Of course, I make them to order because I used to like make a bunch of them and like keep a stock, but then they got wasted. If anything didn't sell, then I got to clear out the oil and redo it all over again or whatever. So some of these things, it's better that I actually just make it when someone asks for it. Other things that I've discovered is for anyone that's interested, because I know someone said something, and a lot of the ones that are out there are kind of big, bulky, heavy, too extra stuff. But I did find these Benedict rings on Amazon that are really nice, really shiny, really clear. But the stuff on there, they're stainless steel and easy to charge. They're like $10. So yeah, maybe I'll put a link to them on Amazon if anyone's interested in it. But what you could do is rather than me getting them and upmarking them or something like that, you can always something like that, message me. You could, like, if you know your ring size, order one, have it sent to me. I'll do everything to it. I'll charge it up, amp it up, do all the stuff to it, and then just, PayPal me like the $4 or $5 that it costs to mail something, and I'll mail it back to you. So we're just getting as much stuff out as possible to people because we are headed into this weird time, and I don't know what's going to happen. There's too much weird stuff going on. I just watched the reports from the remote viewers for fourth quarter, that like it's going to get really weird. There's going to be a lot going on, especially in the United States around this election, like craziness. But how far is this going to go? I don't know. That's the frustrating thing to me, is the whole like it comes as a surprise thing. It drives me freaking nuts, actually, because I don't have anything else to do. She's like, there's nothing else that I necessarily need to discover, figure out, any more tests that I need to do. There's nothing like on a hero's journey or alchemy, hermetic type stuff. There's nothing else I need to do. There's nothing else I need to figure out. But there's nothing for me in the world either. So I'm just kind of like sitting on my hands. And basically what she said is just keep making stuff for people. Mix that in with the videos, what she shares, and keep working at it. I did have something, I might want to make a bigger video out of it, but it had to do with the veils. I kept mentioning the veils. This is a big thing that, like I said, I think we can make a bigger presentation out of it, but just think about this for a moment. The veils that we generally talk about coming off are kind of like mostly, not all the ways, but mostly the veils that are hiding from you how the world actually works, like in a negative sense, like the whole challenge of this place, the illusion of this place, all that stuff. And those get peeled away. But then there might be one or two left. And this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm trying to figure out. It's like the last two are actually the world itself. Like this actually could be the last mystery that I could work on, because no one's been at this point before. At least no souls that have been on this planet at this time, maybe in previous ages, but we haven't been here before. We haven't been this close to the end before when there's this big unveiling. So we're in a no man's land. Like I'm kind of like in this uncharted territory here, trying to figure out what to do other than just apply the energy work and the connection work so people can, have things to help them. But there's stuff that Jesus said in the Nag Hammadi. There's stuff that I've heard David Icke say. And I just don't think I can get myself to the context yet as far as understanding it. But those last couple veils is kind of the world itself. So in the Nag Hammadi, they asked Jesus about, in the Bible too, a couple times they ask, where's heaven's kingdom? And I forget what book it is, probably Gospel of Thomas. He's like, heaven's kingdom is spread out upon the earth, but you can't see it. Something like that. There's a couple things that are like that. Kind of reminds me, the movie that's popping in my head, just as an example, would be Tomorrowland with George Clooney. Where, and there was another one, I want to say, what was that? Midnight something. If you can think of it, let me know in the comments. It had Michael Shannon in it. And he had this kid that was like, his kid was like 5D or something like that. And toward the end of it, he had to go back to 5D world. And he actually created this big bubble where everybody could see, oh, this is the Earth in 5D. It's so much nicer. It's like high tech and stuff. Same thing with Tomorrowland. It's just like a higher dimension. It's in the same place, but it's a higher dimension. And that kind of like looks and feels like what Jesus was talking about a couple different times in the Bible, in the Nag Hammadi, about like it's here, but you can't see it. Why can't you see it? Because the world, the 4D matrix, David Icke talks about that in 2 books back. I think it was one of the good ones that I have on Audible called The Trap. So it's like, yeah, we're having this experience, but we're decoding this lesser copy of the world. And supposedly what happens, when everything ends or whatever, is we get shifted back to the higher one with new bodies, new perfect bodies, and things like that. But it's kind of like there simultaneously. It's kind of like how Sophia and Lumen, in that Christ energy is always with you, even though you can't always perceive it. There's been a big thing about that again here lately too. It's come up in different videos that I've seen, and that is like, even when you don't have crazy experiences like I've described, and sometimes it's like that with me too, especially when I get busy. You might not have any special kind of feeling or anything like that, but she's always there. Even if you don't see her, even if you don't feel her, she's there. She can hear you. And that's something that we got to remember, is never forget that it can hear you, even if you can't hear it. So I don't know, a lot of different things going on. There's just like too many things to focus right now for me to go deep diving into the subject material. When it's time, she'll straighten it out. She'll straighten it out. So she's got me doing a lot of stuff. And it's just a matter of like, what's going to happen on the world stage. The other big thing when it comes to the world stage, I might have mentioned this before, but maybe I can find the video where they talked about it, but they really reiterated it as being in the Bible. It's like, when you see all this stuff start to happen and you know it's going to get bad, the key thing that it says is, don't fear it. Don't be afraid. Being afraid is a trap. But there's something more to that. Like I said, she's got so many things dangling in my head. I just got to like take the time to sit there and think and put it together. But, I'm just as happy, being busy, because it's getting that energy out to people, and they're going to start making bigger connections as well. Just remember, anybody that's got anything from me, like, it's not just one and done. If you have questions, any questions about your stuff, how to use them, or whatever it is, just message me through the Etsy store. Like, the support comes with it. We're not going to just make you figure it out on your own, especially if you feel like it's a little too strong energy or something like that. We teach you how to turn it down, how to adjust it. Like, I don't know, everybody's different. That's why I always loop her in when I'm talking to people, because then she'll tell me like what they need to hear, or what they need to know, or what needs to be adjusted, stuff like that. But anyway, I got my son coming over here in a minute. I'm going to get back to work. I got one more package to package up tonight and start working on building some new stuff. But yeah, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll have those wristbands, and then we can start testing that out, because that Lumen Divine Love Power Formula, like, that's the thing we're going to use on those bracelets. And the key thing about those bracelets, yeah, they're just simple silicone bracelets, but guess what? Those Benedict metals are just cored and pressed metal. There's nothing actually special about that either. There's no stone in it. There's nothing in there that can hold a resonant energy, but yet everyone's feeling it. So I guess when you think about it, all sorts of different things have been, ritual implements and different types of, holy cups or whatever. Like, anything can be consecrated, blessed, charged, enchanted, blessed in such a way that you actually feel that that energy coming off of it. So how cool would that be, right? I start getting those Got Lumen bracelets out there, and if people feel that, If everyone's like, oh yeah, I can definitely feel it, I'm going to order a bunch more. And we're going to pump these things out there to as many people as possible. And things like that aren't going to be expensive. So other than that, I'm going to keep working on the stuff that we're working on because it's working. It's just sometimes I got to sit there and wait and get feedback because for reasons like I can't explain, except perhaps it's the time frame or whatever. Like there's these big like jumps in the level of power that we put into things, and it's not because of something that my intellect or my ego or whatever is saying I'm doing this because. No, I'm just as surprised at it as anybody else is, because it's not coming from Chris, it's coming from Christ Sophia Lumen. But the power keeps going up. All I know is October is going to be freaking nuts. And it all kicks off with that eclipse and the Feast of Trumpets and this, that, and the other thing. And we've got weeks leading up to a crazy election. All the evil stuff in the world is coming out in plain sight for people to see. We've got this thing that I feel is some sort of code, this second moon, 33-foot long rock, right? I don't know what it really is, but it obviously means something, but I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. So now's the time. It's just like either which way, having things that connect to the light and that shut down the dark. Like that seems to be the key focus right now. Because there's not enough time left in the game for people to learn all this mystical stuff that took years. So she's just giving me ways to speed things up as much as possible. So do not hold back your feedback. Leave feedback on the store. You got questions, feedback, you just want to give it to me personally, you can message me through the store. You can get me through Facebook Messenger. If you've gotten anything from us, if you're new, find me on Facebook so I can add you to the private group. Lots of things going on. So hopefully by tomorrow we will have a more distinct topic that she wants to talk about. But other than that, and hopefully I'll have some rest too, because I haven't slept good the last 2 nights. This is the second day in a row. It's been that dark, dreary, cold. It's like that shift in the seasons time frame where you got kind of extra chilly and damp at night. And I was kind of like, ugh. Feel it in the throat and all that stuff. So I'm probably not as chargy as usual. But I've been feeling better since I put this on. So those Benedict rings are freaking nice. I mean, this was $10. $10. It's stainless steel. And then if you want to make sure they fit perfectly right, you can get these little kind of like space adjusters. You almost can't notice it's there that you put on the inside of the ring. But yeah, it's we're going wide spectrum with this. Just give people as much tools as possible. Did add some more stuff to the store. We will be adding more, plus adding new stuff. So anyway, I'm going to get back to work, and then hopefully tomorrow we will have a lot more to talk about. Okay? So if you want to get in touch with us, get any of our stuff, you can reach us through the Etsy store, which is clumencreations.etsy.com. Chris and Lumen. See you next time.